What's up everybody, and welcome to another video. In my last video, I built a budget computer for editing and a little bit of light gaming. It was to replace my aging MacBook, which just wasn't getting the job done anymore. I will put a link to that video above. And while the new PC did work for what I intended it for, it still was very slow. So today we're going to be building the computer that you see on the screen right now. It's much faster and much more powerful. This PC was built from a mixture of new and used parts that I acquired over the past several months. All the components were purchased either from Amazon, eBay, Craigslist, or the Facebook Marketplace. Before we get into the build, I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to watch this video. I am working hard to improve the quality of each video that I put out. So if you like my content, hit the like button and definitely consider subscribing. Feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions or suggestions. So now, let's take a look at the parts that I chose for this build. The first component that I chose was the Gigabyte Aorus B450i Pro Wi-Fi Mini ITX motherboard. This is a great entry-level motherboard that has many features at a great price, and it fits my needs perfectly. For my CPU, I went with the Ryzen 5 2600. It is a 3.9 GHz CPU with 6 cores and 12 threads. This should be plenty of processing power for both gaming and editing. To keep my CPU cool, I chose the CoolerMaster Hyper 212 RGB Black Edition. I've used the Hyper 212 on several builds in the past, and for price to performance, in my opinion, it's one of the best air coolers on the market. For memory, I chose a 16GB kit of Team Group T-Force Vulcan Z DDR4 3200 memory. This should be more than enough memory for my needs and work well with my AMD CPU. For my GPU, I chose a Redragon RX 570 8GB GDDR5 graphics card by PowerColor. This card will have plenty of power for what games I play. To power everything, I went with the Corsair CX550M 550 watt power supply. This power supply has bronze certification, and since I've been using Corsair power supplies for many years with no issues, they are a brand that I trust. To run my operating system, I chose the Corsair MP300 120GB NVMe PCIe SSD. 120 gigabytes will be plenty of space for my operating system and what applications I'll be using. To store my games and any larger applications, I'll be using a Samsung 500GB 850 EVO SSD. And for file storage, I'll be using a 2TB Seagate Barracuda 7200 RPM hard drive. For case fans, I went with two 120mm Noctua NF P12 Redux 1300 fans. These fans work at 1300 RPM and are relatively quiet. Finally, for my case, I chose the NZXT H210 Mini ITX case. It is on the larger side of an ITX case, but it offers plenty of room for upgrades in the future and plenty of room for cooling. The style I chose is matte black and white. It has a tempered glass side panel and it can support up to a 240mm radiator in the front. So without further ado, let's get this build started. I apologize for the quality of the build montage. Some of my footage was lost due to a corrupt SD card. have it, the finished build. I will be upgrading this PC as I can as funds become available to me. So, it will be an ever-evolving project. I really hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. I am planning to do many more videos of this type in the near future. I'd also like to get into some benchmarking videos and some Let's Play videos as well. So until then, thank you so much for watching my video. If there's anything you'd like to see me do on my channel in the future, maybe a specific game or a specific review, definitely leave it in the comments below. I am always open to your suggestions. So I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you in my next video.